Okay, somebody posted a copy of an endorsement that's called Undamaged Siding and Roofing Material Exclusion. And there is some things in here that I want to point out. In the exclusion, it says the following two things, and bear with me as I read it. We do not insure costs to replace undamaged exterior surfacing or roof surfacing due to color mismatch because of weathering, fading, oxidizing, or wear and tear between any existing undamaged exterior surfacing or roof surfacing on the dwelling or additional structure and new material used to repair or replace damaged exterior surfacing or roof surfacing. So no color mismatches. And then it says we do not insure costs to replace undamaged exterior surfacing or roof surfacing due to any mismatch because materials are unavailable, obsolete, or discontinued between any existing undamaged exterior surfacing or roof surfacing on the dwelling or additional structures and new material used to repair or replace any damaged exterior surfacing or roof surfacing on the dwelling or additional structures. All other provisions of the policy apply. Okay, so there's 2 points here. Position 1 says they don't owe for color mismatch. Position 2 says they don't owe for any mismatch due to discontinuation, obsolescence, or lack of materials that you can get. The premise here is, and let's use a roof as an example. If you're making a repair on a roof and you can't get a shingle that matches the color exactly, well, there's an exclusion for having to replace the rest of the shingles for that reason. Fine. Well, if you can't get a shingle that matches in size or texture or shadow lines or the shape, if you can't get that, then there's an exclusion in here for any mismatch of those materials as well, and they wouldn't owe for the undamaged materials. That's the premise. They want you to believe that they would never owe for it for those reasons. But there's one thing that you need to remember. All of this starts with a proper repair. I'm going to read the language in number 2 real quick to you towards the end. It says the difference between existing undamaged exterior surfacing or roof surfacing on the dwelling or additional structures and new materials used to repair or replace any damaged exterior surfacing or roof surfacing on the dwelling or additional structures. I said used really weird because it's past tense. Used means it was used. So any roofing materials that were used to make repairs. If there's new materials that were used to make repairs, then there's new materials that are installed with old undamaged materials. At that point, this language gets triggered. They would not then have to replace the undamaged materials. But if you can't make an appropriate repair, if there is nothing available that is compatible with those materials, or if the roof is in a condition that there are unavoidable damages that occur in the process of making repairs, then you haven't had any new materials used yet. Until a proper repair is actually completed, there is no mismatch. Once a proper repair is completed, now there might be a mismatch of color. And there might be something that isn't available because that color is no longer available, it's obsolete. But keep in mind, a proper repair was still achieved. If you can't make a code-compliant proper repair, a reasonable repair, if you cannot do that because there isn't anything available, then you've not got anything that's going to trigger this language because no new materials were used yet. Does that make sense? I know we're thinking about that you might use them, but until they are used, there is no mismatch because that word is past tense. I hope that helps you. You need to start with a repairability argument. If it's repairable or not, and then after that, if it is repairable and a repair is made, now you've got a mismatch thing and you can worry about whether there's an exclusion in the policy for that or not at that point. Make sense? Hope that helps.